He was killed. Yulia Navalnaya says her husband Alexei was poisoned in prison. Lab results smuggled abroad, 2 countries confirming murder. In a defiant video, Navalnaya accuses Putin and Russia's secret services of deploying banned weapons, demanding the truth be made public. From Nemtsov to Prigozhin, the price of defiance keeps climbing, and Russia's dissent keeps bleeding. Yulia Navalnaya, the widow of Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, has released a new video message claiming that her husband was poisoned while serving his prison sentence in the Arctic Circle.
There is the main thing we have achieved. In February 2024, we managed to obtain samples of Alexei's biological material and transport them abroad in a reliable way. Laboratories of at least 2 countries have conducted studies independently of each other. The laboratories from the 2 countries have come to the conclusion that Alexei had been killed. To be specific, he had been poisoned.
She went further, issuing a direct accusation.
I will not be silent. I affirm that Vladimir Putin is guilty of killing my husband, Alexei Navalny. I accuse the Russian special services of developing prohibited chemical and biological weapons. I urge the laboratories which conducted studies to make the results public.
Navalny died suddenly on February 16, 2024, at the age of 47. Russian authorities said he succumbed to medical complications, but his wife has consistently rejected that account. In her latest statement, she alleged that biological samples taken from Navalny after his death were smuggled abroad and analyzed in 2 separate laboratories. According to her, both laboratories reached the same conclusion. Navalny was killed by poisoning. Navalnaya did not specify which substance was detected, nor did she name the laboratories involved. Instead, she urged them to publish their findings, calling the results an inconvenient truth that should not remain hidden. She said she had moral grounds to pursue the matter, even without an official investigation, and directly accused President Vladimir Putin of bearing responsibility for her husband's death. The Kremlin has dismissed her claims. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters that he was unaware of Navalnaya's remarks and offered no further comment. Russian officials have long cast Navalny's allies as extremists acting on behalf of Western governments, insisting that Putin enjoys strong public support at home. Navalnaya's final hours remain disputed. Navalnaya said that, on the day of his death, he complained of chest and stomach pain after exercise, collapsed in his cell, and began vomiting while prison guards watched. She added that medical help was delayed for at least 40 minutes. Russian investigators previously told his family that he suffered from sudden death syndrome and later suggested a mix of health conditions. Navalny's story has drawn international attention since 2020, when German, Swedish, Finnish, and Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons Laboratories confirmed he had been poisoned with a novichok nerve agent in Siberia. He recovered in Berlin and chose to return to Russia in 2021, where he was arrested on arrival and later sentenced on charges widely regarded as politically motivated. In her video, Navalnaya framed her late husband not only as a victim, but as a symbol of hope for Russians who wanted change. She vowed not to remain silent and called on the international community to confront the truth of his death. For many, Navalny's killing has come to symbolize not only the fate of Russia's most prominent dissident, but the dangers faced by all who dare to challenge Vladimir Putin's rule. Former intelligence officer Putin has been serving as president of Russia since 2012, having previously served from 2000 to 2008. The death of Alexei Navalny has added another name to the long list of Russians who met violent or suspicious ends after challenging the state. Navalny, who led major protests and exposed official corruption, died in an Arctic prison colony on February 16, 2024, at the age of 47. Authorities said he collapsed after a walk, but his allies reject the official account. Navalny's passing comes nearly a quarter century into Vladimir Putin's rule, during which several other prominent critics and defectors have also lost their lives under disputed circumstances. In August 2023, Yevgeny Prigozhin, head of the Wagner mercenary group, was killed in a plane crash 2 months after launching a short-lived mutiny against Russia's military leadership. Once a trusted insider, Prigozhin had embarrassed Putin by exposing weaknesses in the country's armed forces. 2 decades earlier, in April 2003, Sergei Yushchenkov, a veteran lawmaker and co-leader of the Liberal Russia Party, was shot outside his Moscow home. Yushchenkov had sought to investigate potential security service involvement in the deadly apartment bombings of 1999, a sensitive chapter in Russia's modern history. Journalists and human rights defenders have also been targets. On October 7, 2006, Anna Politkovskaya, known for her reporting on abuses in Chechnya, was murdered in her apartment building. While several men were convicted, suspicions persist that those who ordered the killing were never pursued. Weeks later, in November 2006, former security officer Alexander Litvinenko died in London after being poisoned with radioactive polonium. British investigators concluded he had ingested the substance during a meeting with 2 Russian nationals. Moscow refused extradition requests, and both men were later sanctioned by the United States. Other killings highlight the risks for rights activists. Natalia Estemirova, who investigated abductions and extrajudicial killings in Chechnya, was abducted in Grozny in July 2009 and later found shot dead. That same year, whistleblowing lawyer Sergei Magnitsky died in pre-trial detention after being denied medical care. His death spurred the US Congress to pass the Magnitsky Act, sanctioning Russian officials implicated in human rights violations. On February 27, 2015, Boris Nemtsov, a former deputy prime minister turned opposition leader, was shot near the Kremlin. Nemtsov had been preparing a report on Russia's involvement in Ukraine. Together, these cases form a pattern of silenced dissent. With Navalny's death, Russia has lost its most prominent opposition figure in decades, leaving behind a fractured movement facing mounting repression.